You ever notice that if you get to know two identical twins, they might look alike, but they're always subtly different? Yeah, whatever. As they get older, those differences can get more pronounced. Two people start out the same, but their appearance and their health can diverge. For instance, you have more gray hair. No, I don't. Identical twins have the same DNA, the exact same genes. Yeah. And don't our genes make us who we are? Well, they do, yes, but they're not the whole story. Some researchers have discovered a new bit of biology that can work with our genes or against them. Yeah. You're heavier and I'm better looking. Yeah, whatever. Imagine coming into the world with a person so like yourself that for a time you don't understand mirrors.
As a child, when I looked in the mirror, I'd say, "That's my sister." And my mother would say, "No, that's your reflection."
And even if you resist this cookie-cutter existence, cultivate individual styles and abilities like cutting your hair differently or running faster. Uncanny similarities bond you together. Facial expressions, body language, the way you laugh, or dress for an interview perhaps, when you hadn't a clue what your sister was going to wear. The synchrony in your lives constantly confronts you.
When I see my sister, I see myself. If she looks good, I think, I look pretty today. But if she's not wearing makeup, I say, my God, I look horrible.
It's hardly surprising, because you both come from the same egg. You have precisely the same genes. And you're literally clones, better known as identical twins. But now, imagine this. One day, your twin, your clone, is diagnosed with cancer.
Por favor.
If you're the other twin, what can you do except wait for the symptoms?
I have been told that I am a high risk for cancer. Damocles' sword hangs over me.
And yet, it's not uncommon for a twin like Anna Marie to get a dread disease, while the other, like Clotilde, doesn't. But how can two people so alike be so unalike? Well, these mice may hold a clue. Their DNA is as identical as Anna Marie and Clotilde's, despite the differences in their color and size. The human who studies them is Duke University's Randy Girdle. So Randy, I see here you have skinny mice and fat mice. What have you done in this lab?
Well, these animals are actually genetically identical.
The fat ones and the skinny ones?
That's correct.
Because these are huge.
They're huge.
Can we weigh them to find out?
So if you take, this is...
Looks like they can barely walk.
They can't walk too much. They're not going to be running very far. So that's about 63 grams.
63 grams.
Let's look at the other one.
So it's half the weight.
Right.
This gets even more mysterious when you realize that these identical mice both have a particular gene called agouti. But in the yellow mouse, it stays on all the time, causing obesity. Just look at this. So what accounts for the thin mouse? Exercise? Atkins? No. A tiny chemical tag of carbon and hydrogen, called a methyl group, has affixed to the agouti gene, shutting it down. Living creatures possess millions of tags like these. Some, like methyl groups, attach to genes directly, inhibiting their function. Other types grab the proteins, called histones, around which genes coil, and tighten or loosen them to control gene expression. Distinct methylation and histone patterns exist in every cell, constituting a sort of second genome, the epigenome.
Epigenetics literally translates into just meaning above the genome. So if you would think, for example, of the genome as being like a computer, the hardware of a computer, the epigenome would be like the software that tells the computer when to work, and how much.
In fact, it's the epigenome that tells our cells what sort of cells they should be. Skin, hair, heart. You see, all these cells have the same genes, but their epigenomes silence the unneeded ones to make cells different from one another. Epigenetic instructions pass on as cells divide, but they're not necessarily permanent. Researchers think they can change, especially during critical periods like puberty or pregnancy. Drödel's mice reveal how the epigenome can be altered. To produce thin brown mice instead of fat yellow ones, he feeds pregnant mothers a diet rich in methyl groups to form the tags that can turn genes off.
And I think you can see that we dramatically shifted the coat color, and we get many, many more brown animals.
And that matters because your coat color is a tracer. It's an indicator.
That's correct.
Of the fact that you have turned off that gene.
That's right.
This epigenetic fix was also inherited by the next generation of mice, regardless of what their mothers ate. And when an environmental toxin was added to the diet instead of nutrients, more yellow babies were born, doomed to grow fat and sick like their mothers.